This is my Winnebago 59G Travato 2016, and I'm offering it for sale. I am the original owner, and wanted to do a video, kind of give you a more comprehensive idea of the unit. I'm going to do an exterior video first, and then I'll follow up with a video on the interior features. And the reason I wanted to present it in a video is because I've made quite a few modifications to the unit. Feel like I've pretty much corrected what I think are the shortcomings of this unit, and addressed pretty much all of those. We'll start with the outside and kind of go around in a systematic way and kind of show you what I did. By way of qualifications, if you will, I'm by trade a professional home builder, and by hobby auto restorer. So I do have some skill sets that I hopefully have applied in this unit, and you'll see the things that I've done I feel are pretty well professionally applied. So first, looking at the outside of the unit, as I said, original owner, non-smoker, no pets. Used it primarily as a mobile office, although I've taken a few longer trips in it, but really hasn't been camped in very much for the mileage that's on it. It's mostly just been a daily driver. So let's start around the front and kind of show you what I've done. Kind of a minor thing, but it gives you an idea of the level of detail that I put in to the modifications. The horn on these units is weak, to say the least. Most of the time you got no response from other drivers, so that's been replaced with a air horn, fairly loud truck style horn with relay that replaced the original. So it definitely does get an attention when you need it. The maintenance on the unit has been pretty extensive as well, and I'll kind of address that as I go through a couple of the videos. Looking up top here, you see one of the first things is an air dam that I added, a deflector at the top. It's made by Rhino Rack. Fits the van very nicely, looks very custom, and does a nice job of protecting the solar panels that I'll show you in just a bit. Additionally, the unit has Michelin tires, about a year old, a nice upgrade over the original tires that were on the unit. Drives very nicely, very quietly. I also added side steps, and you see a short version on the driver's side, which makes entry a lot easier. The original unit comes with a power slide step on the camp side, curb side, and I'll show you a larger side step that I did on there. Up top, it does have the roof rack with the kayak stands on both sides. You can carry two kayaks very easily. Pretty much all the options that this unit comes with: full body paint, the bike rack, as you'll see, and the kayak rack. The only thing I didn't include in the options was the solar, and I'll show you what I did with that, because I just felt I could do a better system than what was offered. This is the hookups on the driver's side, and you'll see the on the left there, the tank fill, as well as the water hookup if you have permanent connection at the campground to pressurize your water. To the right is a cable TV connection. If you have campground cable, you can connect it there. Below that is the power connection for your 30 amp cord, and to the right, the Truma vent for the hot water and furnace. And there's the power connector, and we do have the cord stored in the back in a custom compartment that I've created. Down below that is the propane hookup, and that's a brand new fill valve. The original fill valve had some sort of a problem with the shutoff device. It was very, very slow to fill. I go to a couple of fill stations and find that they couldn't even really address it. So I did replace that, and it fills perfectly fine. Works real well. No issue with that. Also then, kind of looking down the side, you see these accent pieces, kind of a brushed stainless accent trim. Those come loose, and originally had sort of a glue on them. I pulled all of those off on both sides and applied a 3M tape to those, a high bond tape, so they're never coming off again. This is the refrigerator vent, and you see a few little clips on there, and what I've done is add a couple of 12-volt fans that have a switch inside. You'll see in the inside video, and that helps to circulate air up past the coils and out through that top vent and improve the cooling efficiency of the unit a little bit. Very low draw, computer style 12-volt fans that do well. To the right of that is the sewage storage hose, or at least that's what's labeled as, but it's virtually useless because a sewer hose with fittings won't fit. So I've made some changes to that as well. This is a LED floodlight that I added. I moved all of the piping inside the unit so it is 4-season capable. Originally on the units, this is sort of a central drain location for the water pipes to drain everything, to winterize it. Since we're not doing that anymore, taking that location and put this LED floodlight with a switch at the back door. And what that's for is a late night arrival to a campsite. You need some light on that side to hook everything up, and rather than a high-mounted light that would flood the neighboring campsite, I put this one down low, and it does a real nice job of just illuminating the ground and giving you just enough light to be able to hook up. Typically, they'd put a light maybe up here, and I think the later versions may have done that. But having that light down there does a really good job. Also on the driver's side, you have the tank hookups for your gray and black water drains. And I've added to that a 12-volt plug. We'll show that here in a second a little bit closer, but the generator exhaust is there, and I've added a hush muffler to that, so that quiets that generator down just a little bit. Still a generator, but a little bit quieter. There's that 12-volt plug, and that's for a macerator pump. I use a macerator on my drain because it's so low, and it also allows me to dump the tanks at home. So anywhere you can get a hose into a sewer line or a toilet, you can use that macerator pump to pump out your tanks, and the plug is right there, and the switch for the gray water drain pump as well. I've relocated to a little more central location, and I think we'll get a look at those here in just a minute. While we're on the back of the unit, I did add on the suspension sumo springs. It raises the rear maybe about half, 3/4 of an inch. Gives a little more aggressive stance, but more importantly, it stabilizes the drive very nicely. Really makes it solid. Sort of left, body roll is kind of pulled out of it. Looking at the rear again, all the options. It's got the ladder going up to the top for access for maintenance and helpful when you're loading a kayak. I've also got a third brake light that I added. Unit I just felt didn't have really noticeable brake lights. I noticed people were stopping short behind me, so I added that LED third brake light, as well as in the hitch I've added this Rhino step, as it's helpful getting in and out, but more importantly it just provides a little cushion for the van if somebody does tap it. It's there to kind of protect everything in the back. This unit also was ordered with the bike rack, and I've used that quite a bit, but there is a shortcoming to the original bike rack, something that Winnebago has changed. They now have the trays that hold the tires. They make those collapsible so they can shorten up, and on this unit they're a fixed length, and the problem of course is almost anybody that owns one of these units will tell you they've banged their head more than once into those by opening and closing that door with those long racks. So not able to really modify those in a way to collapse them. I thought about maybe cutting them down, hinging them, doing something like that, and really came to the conclusion that simpler solution was just to replace the mounting hardware with these thumb screws. So you can just take it apart and pull those off, and you can have one or none. And you can even slide them left to right. I have them more centered than they originally came. They stick out a little bit on the passenger side, but not any more than the mirror does. So they're pretty good there. And when I'm not carrying a bike, I typically take them off, and then I avoid headbangs. So that's been a perfectly workable solution on that rack, and it folds up. It's a very easy way to carry a couple bikes, and very convenient addition to the unit as well. So moving around on the side. Oh, one more thing in the rear before I forget. It does have a backup camera that's stock with the ProMaster. It's mounted up on the top, and that kind of bump out middle clearance light in the middle there. And as you'll see on the interior video, it's not a very effective backup camera. So I wanted to add a dash cam, and I was able to locate a dash cam that has a rear view 2-camera system. So this is the camera mounted up above the license plate light. Looks like it came with the unit. All the wiring is properly routed through the unit. And this provides a constant rear view camera, as well as its recording, both front view as well as rear. And again, you'll see a better view of that on the interior video. And so you have the two of them when you're backing up. The stock one only goes on in reverse. The one I installed is on all the time, so it gives you a nice rear view vision. And I think that was a really nice addition, because if you're not particularly used to driving a vehicle with just side mirrors, a truck or a van, this will help you get a lot better perspective of what's going on around you. So moving around to the curb side, passenger side, again, all the stock items. It's got the exterior speakers that run off your stereo system. It's got a LED light on the camp side. It's got connections there for black water flush, as well as your electrical and cable. Here's that wide side step, or the longer side step, that I put on running boards. I really feel these are superior to the step, which was only about maybe 16, 18 inches wide. You had to wait for it to come in and out. You had to remember to turn the switch on, and it was just really a hassle. Didn't help you with the passenger entry at the front seat. So that I feel was a much better solution, and looks better on the van as well. And otherwise has the FEMA awning. It's a 12-volt power awning. I've hardly used it. I mean, I put it out really just to show somebody. But since I don't really camp that much in it, it's not been something that I've had a lot of use for. But it works perfectly, and it does a nice job. And those right between the doors there, that's one of the support arms that you connect when you use put the power awning out. It has little fold-down arms that you support it with, and connect it to the unit. Again, on the kayak rack, got the side supports. They flip up, and there are straps and pads that slip over them. I've carried kayaks a couple times. A little challenging to load them, but if you carry like a small folding ladder, or you have a nice step stool or something, and if you have a couple people, it's no problem. But even by yourself, it's easier with a ladder. There's actually a guy that's done a video on loading them by sort of leaning them against the side and then kind of climbing up on the roof and muscling them up there. I might have done that as a younger man, but I find I have a folding step ladder that does a really nice job of being able to load them onto that side. So I'm going to open the back here just to give you a quick look at some of the things that I did. First, I did find some lost space that Winnebago left behind the toilet area, the bathroom area, and I went ahead and cut in a recess pocket into there that holds the power cord. Otherwise, you're just kind of left, with that on the floor or in a box or something. So I've got these organized OB nets that kind of hold everything in there, and I'm able to hold my power cord as well as a cable TV, a couple connectors, adapters, whatever you might need in there. Up above that, just mounted a surface a net that holds the collapsible water hose, so all your stuff is available, without taking up floor space. There's some connections, a 12-volt plug, a 120-volt plug. Then there's the light switch, and that whole net where I relocated this drain pump switch. That was originally a out of reach, if you will. The gray water gray water tank does need a pump to push it to this drain here, to drain by gravity when it gets there. But you got to pump it up and over the rear. So what I do is I put a clear fitting on there so I can make sure everything's coming out. And now I can stand there and push that drain pump and hold it where I couldn't reach it over and see the drain from that location. So now by reaching between the door while it's draining, I can make sure that it's fully pumped out and everything's flowing. And that's just been a much better location. The other switch next to it is that floodlight, the LED campsite light that I installed. And you put that on and boom, there it is. And again, a nice convenient location when you're hooking up, arrive at a campground late and you just want to get everything hooked up for the evening and not disturb your neighbors. That works really well. I do need to get a blank cover to put over that one hole, but that's about the only thing that really hasn't been addressed on the unit, and that's easy to do. So there gives you a quick view of kind of what's happening in the back. So stand by with a little shaky camera while I climb up the ladder one-handed. Here we go. And up on top, you'll see what I've done as far as the solar. There are two 150 amp, or 150 watt, solar panels. So you have 300 watts. The most that Winnebago would offer if you expanded the system was 200. So I've got 50% more with the 300 watts up there with a charge controller inside. And that really does a great job if you're with the two AGM batteries that the unit has. If you're out in the sun, you pretty much can have the refrigerator on 12 volts. You can be running the inverter, which I did add an inverter. I'll show you that on the inside video, but it has full off-grid capability. And short of running the air conditioner, you can pretty much do everything. If you have sunshine, keep those batteries charged. Really nice if you park the unit and you're off for the day. We've used this thing going to swim meets and going on bike trips and those sorts of things, sightseeing. And what's nice is that you're able to just kind of leave things hooked up and know everything's going to be fully charged when you get back. Up front, that little Batwing device that I just pointed to is the HD over-the-air antenna. Does a really nice job. I rarely hook up to the campground cable because I can usually pick up enough channels to get the news or watch a movie or whatever. Otherwise, the roof is pretty well covered with the solar and air conditioner, which, by the way, I added a hush kit to this air conditioner. It is amazingly quiet on the outside. It didn't make much difference on the inside, but it does make a huge difference on the outside. It was so loud originally that I felt kind of bad if I had it on in a campground. I had people camping next to me in a tent or outside at night. I felt like it was just roaring, and I put the hush kit on it, and it is just super quiet. It's I could literally have recorded a video with it running and been talking right down here on the ground, no problem. So that was a nice improvement as well. As I said, I think I've pretty much addressed almost everything with this unit that was bothersome or wasn't fully functional for my purposes. So that it addressed all those the shortcomings. It is 4-season capable. I have fully insulated the unit, relocated all the water pipes inside. As you'll see on the inside video, it even has a heated floor so that you can use it year-round. I've had it down to 12, 13 degree Fahrenheit with the furnace on, and no problems at all with anything freezing. So it's perfect off-grid, perfect traveler, and hopefully a unit that would be a great asset for anybody that's looking to visit the parks and really get places where maybe a larger RV can't get you. By the way, I do have a Class A RV, have had one for 19 years, and so I applied a lot of the RV motorhome knowledge, having modified that unit, worked on all the systems, maintained the systems, really applied all that to this unit to make it as easy to operate and reliable as possible. The other items that I've done on the unit, just from a sort of technology stamp or a maintenance standpoint, I should say, I do all the maintenance on the unit myself. It's never had to be into the Dodge dealer for any mechanical issues. It's been flawless from that standpoint, but I have done regular oil changes with Mobil 1. I've also done K&N air filter and maintain the generator by standard as well. So that's pretty much sums it up on the exterior of the unit. As I said, I'll do an interior video. And if you have any questions at all, just shoot me an email. Have all the documentation, all the literature, and everything on the unit is in almost original or almost pristine condition, because it has been garage kept since it was new. So everything that needed to be done has been done, and all the improvements have been made to make it as usable as possible. Hope to hear from you, and look for the follow-up video on the interior.